We made it. We made it. There's a lot of slingshot dragsters here this morning. Somebody's water cup fell. We are at the track. It's a little quieter in here, but we got the car unloaded. We are here. The goal for today is to make one full hit. I don't care what it takes, but we need to make one full hit under power on motor all the way to the finish line just to see where we're at. And then if everything's good from there, it's time to start spraying this thing. We have been, working up to this for a while, and we got plenty of plugs. We got plenty of nitrous bottles. We have a perfect racetrack on a beautiful day. This is our time. This is the day. We need to get this done. We need to get it done right. We need to get it done today. We have the equipment. We have plenty of plugs. We have plenty of nitrous. We have a bottle warmer. We have plenty of Q16 race fuel from BP. We have everything you can imagine that you would need for what we're doing today. We have it. So all we got to do now is put the right keystrokes into this and the right twisties on all the knobs and make it happen and go all the way to the stripe under power. For the first tune-up of the day, we do have brand new tires. So we're going to have to be a little light on the first one. It usually takes new tires 4 or 5 licks to break in. We got rid of the Mickey Thompsons. We went to the Hoosier, which, the Hoosier's what I know, and it's just a better tire in my opinion. I'm not sure if it was, 4-link related or if it was just the tire, but it was fighting us pretty good last time. So this thing shouldn't smoke the tires on motor. So we'll put new Hoosiers on the car. We're going to go 4,600 on the 2-step. We're going to ship the 1.2 at 7,600 if it makes it there. Well, it's on time and on RPM, but the time pretty much stays the same. So has a minimum RPM and a time that it has to meet, but 7,600 on the 1.2, about 7,800 on the 2.3. We're going to start at 14 pounds of air. Front extension 13 from full type, front compression 5 from full type, rear extension 15 from full type, rear compression 10 from full type. No external dump on the brake, but we may open it on trans brake release, 50% to 100% for half a second, or actually 100% to 50%, about a half a second. It'd be all off by 3/4 of a second. If it goes, it should be, it should be decent. We got some pretty good preliminary time slip numbers from the last time we were here. They weren't what we wanted, but it did show a little bit of promise. So hopefully now, with a few changes, we can get down through there. But we're not going to be upset either way, no matter what it runs. We're going to be good. Unless it runs like 650s or something, then we're going to burn it. Well, I'm going to put these plugs in, and you need to get your pants on because you're not wearing any pants.
Oh, boy.
did what?
I want a 5.
That wasn't no 5-second fucking pass. You're full of shit. Let me see. Damn. Damn, on motor? Okay, so pleasantly surprised, I'd say. After the trouble that we've had with it, you know, I kind of figured it would fight us a little harder, but first pass off the trailer today, it goes 139 to the 60 foot, 391 to the 330, and 597 at 118 and a half. So, you know, pleasantly surprised. To run a 5 on motor, the first full hit in the car is stellar in my opinion. But looking at the data tells a different story, obviously. If you just look at a time slip or you watch a car go down the track, you know, you have your own thoughts and ideas on front splits, back splits, what you think the car could do, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the data from the past, you can see this is RPM. The red line is RPM. So this is idle over here. She goes on the trans brake. It's on the rev limiter. When she lets off the trans brake, RPM goes up, and then it goes up to about 5,600, and then just, I mean, all the way back down to 5,300. And then it starts to accelerate though. And you can see, you know, it accelerates all the way to the shift. It kind of lays here for a second, but then it starts to accelerate to the shift. And then it's, you know, it's pulling out the back door. You're looking at 7,400 through the 8th mile. Really needs to be a little higher than that, I think, for this motor, but we got something to work with. 597 isn't too shabby. G meter, as you can see, this is the G meter, the yellow. And as you can see, it's flat here. When she lets off the brake, it goes up, but then it rolls over, goes back down. That shows us on, if we look at the drive shaft, now you can see why. So turn the G meter off. You can see the drive shaft here. And she lets off the brake and it hooks initially, then it spins way up, starts to hook, spins again, waffles the tire, and then by 1 second, now it's hooked up and going. So now we're trucking. This is the 1-2 shift, this is the 2-3 shift, and then that's all the way out the finish line. So we have this area right here, there's a lot of ET here. A lot. That's where most of your ET is going to come from. There's a little bit out the back that we can do timing wise and other things, fuel wise, but to be honest, you know, this is where it's at. And it could be because of the new tires, or it could be that it was a little soft, could be the converter's still a little tight, which we can tell is it's not just a little, it's a, you know, it's still a lot tight. But how long do we want to fight this? You know what I mean? So I feel like we need to make a few small changes here, try and fix some of this, because when we spray it, this is only going to get worse. Like, it's going to go higher. So we need to, you know, trim this up a little bit. So we'll make one more motor pass, and then it'll be time to turn on the bottle. And then we won't have such a dip here. You know, the nitrous is going to hopefully pick that right up out of there. So, and then it won't drop as much on the shift, because that's killing it too. I mean, you're dropping, so it's 78, 80 there. It dropped to 6,500 on the 1-2, 79, almost 8,000 on the 2-3, and it dropped to 6,600. And you got to remember, this motor made peak torque at 7,300. So yeah, a lot of ET there, but on the nitrous, it's not going to drop that far. So if we can clean this up a little bit with chassis and power management, then the nitrous should take care of this part for us. But so we're gonna make one more. And what I suggest to do here is we're gonna open the external dump right here to try and relieve some of that pressure, let the RPM go up a little higher. We're gonna loosen the front a few clicks. We're gonna tighten the rear extension and loosen the rear compression. We're gonna go up from 14 to 14.7 on the rear tire. We're gonna leave the 1-2 alone. Might move the 2-3 out. 100, 150. And then we're gonna raise the launch RPM from 4,600 to 4,800. And we might put a 2 or 3 degree launch retard in right here, but I don't think we're gonna need it. So that's what we're gonna do for the second pass on the second motor pass. And then if we get it to go another 5, maybe a little deeper into the 5s, and this here cleans up a little bit, it'll give us another hit on the tires. It'll give us another shot at cleaning up that drive shaft, and then it'll be time for the Nitrous. Because it was at a quarter of a second, it was 590, and at a half a second, it was 2159. So it's a little hot at a half, a little low at a quarter, a little hot at a half. That's the way it works. That's what I'm always talking about. If you can make the quarter second number higher, it doesn't get that bounce up, and it won't bounce up quite as high. So if this is low, this is high, and those are always going to be about the same time. So that's how long it takes the tire to wad up and come back. So that's what we're going to try. We're going to do that, and if it makes another good full hit on motor and it goes all the way to the stripe and hopefully runs maybe a little further into the 5s, then we'll be ready for the Nitrous. TNT2, test and tune number 2, T2, whatever you want to call it. It did go a little further into the 5s. It did clean up a lot of stuff. It looks a lot better. It went 133 to the 60 foot, so it picked up 6 numbers to the 60 foot. Went 384 to the 330, picked up 8 numbers to the 330. And then it went 590. I hate that, man. I mean,
So close.
597, 590, they're about the same if you think about it. I mean, not really, but they're about the same. But if it went 589, it's like, oh, now we picked up a 10th, even though it's not really a 10th, but still. 590 at 118 and a half. So it went the same mile an hour, because we didn't do anything to make it go any faster mile an hour, but the 60 foot improved the most and 330 improved, and that's where the ET came from. It's still bad, don't get me wrong, it still drops and but it's smoother here. It's not as choppy and ugly. Goes out, makes a shift, goes out, makes a shift, goes out, and it's starting to look better. But here's the great part, the drive shaft. Look at that. So it's still a little slow off the button, but that's this here. That's that super tight converter in there. But then you'll notice at a half, we didn't have that big spike up. So first pass, you can see a massive difference there. You can see it in the RPM. And then you can see it in the G meter for sure. It mirrors the drive shaft opposite. You know what I mean? So, and then second pass, look at there, smooth, and G meter, smooth. So that's, tuning 101 right there, is if you can make this and this and this, if they all look good, it will show on the time slip. So still a little slow at a half. Drive shaft RPM is 1140 at a half a second, and that's, in my opinion, that's still a little slow, but it's on motor, super tight converter, all that. So we got a million excuses of why. But the cool thing is it went 133 60 foot on motor, It went 380, and this is on the second pass on a brand new set of tires. 384, 590 to 118 and a half. So, you know, it's repeating. It's consistent out the back. You know, the mile per hour is there. It's doing what we tell it to do. The chassis, the shock adjustments and stuff that we made here, and then the launch RPM change, you know, all that stuff helped. All that stuff got us through that bad spot. So now that is something that I can look at and say, this car just needs nitrous. You know what I mean? I mean, I still think we'd have to spray a whole lot to fix this, but the chassis is working better, and it's making the moves we want it to make. So that's what we're gonna do. Now, the nitrous tune-up it's a 28 nitrous jet in the fogger with a 21 fuel jet, and it's at 7.5 or 8 pounds of flowing fuel pressure. And I did that because it's Q16, and because we just don't know enough about the nitrous kit. We didn't install it. We didn't, you know, we've never actually flowed this kit or anything. So we're just going off of previous numbers that I have in my notes from years ago with similar parts. So we're gonna drop the launch RPM down, way down to like 3,600. Try and let the converter flash up as the nitrous is turning on. We're gonna turn the 1-2 shift down, just because this, you can see this, you see this jump in the drive shaft there on the 1-2 shift. You know, that's has a lot to do with how tight the converter is. So I'm a little worried that if we let it go up that high, where the motor's really making bacon on the nitrous, it'll zip the tire on the shift. So we're gonna pull that back a little bit and try and get it to shift while it's still in the converter a little bit. And then the 2.3 is probably fine. We are going to start at 30% of both sides of the system. So 30% total system, one system, 30% total. We're going to start that. We're not going to turn it on until 0.3 or 0.4. And then we're going to, I am going to tighten the rear extension another click, and I'm going to tighten the rear compression another click. So, because if you can see on the shock here, and if this shock doesn't look like you guys expected it to look, that's just kind of the way it's going to be. This is the way I like to race. This is how I know. This is what I know. So it compressed a little bit more on the hit than I wanted it to. It extended a little bit more on the hit than I wanted it to. So you can see, let me highlight that. So you can see this right here, this little blip here is when she lets off the button, the tire or the rear end tried to separate. I mean, it's only a couple of tenths of an inch, but it's still more than what I really wanted it to do. And then, because that's when it wads the tire and you can't get it back. And it compressed 4.5 to 3.5, a little under 3.5. So it compressed over an inch in the initial hit, but it hit the bottom. Well, I mean, it hit the bottom right at the quarter-second mark. And so that's when you get the bounce on the half if you're not careful. So compression 2, extension 1. So just because I just wanted to try and make it through that area. That the converter is so tight that I just want it to make it through that first half second. If we can get it through the first half second, I think it'll be fine. And then the front extension, I'm gonna tighten it 2. We're gonna tighten that up because it extends when she lets off the button, it extends and then it hits the end of what it wanted to do there, right at almost 3/4 of a second. I want that to be for closer to 1 second. I don't want the front to stop moving up before the nitrous is coming in hard. 28 jet flows like 900, 950, maybe 900-ish to 950 pounds per hour. So 30% of that, it should be a mutt. So we're gonna give it a whirl. This is one of those moments where, I've said before, like sometimes you just gotta get it out there and make a hit, and then you can start making changes from there. This is, now that we've got the motor kind of where we feel like it's gonna be, that we need to do the same thing with nitrous. We just need to get it on paper. So get something laid down through there that'll go and get us something to work with. We're gonna pull the timing down to like 18.5 degrees total for that shot. That's a little conservative, but I'd rather be a little conservative on the first one. So once we start spraying nitrous, I don't think we're gonna go back. Even though, you know, we get a looser stator and a few other things, I think it could run probably 550s or 60s on motor. Once we start spraying nitrous, we're probably not gonna look back. Did you beat him? Did you outrun the guy? How much money was on that race? I mean, you was battling it like
It was me versus you in my head, you know? I was like, I am not getting called a bitch. And then, like,
who the fuck pedals it 3 times? Is it
it's like it the last time.
Huh? Yeah, it sounded wicked. Did it feel good?
You're so fast.
God damn. Whew. We were gonna go over some data here, but it's kind of hard to tell what's going on in this deal. So, you know, you guys remember this is the RPM. There's RPM and drive shaft from the 590 pass on motor, you know. It's very clear to see what's going on. RPM goes up, it shifts, blah, blah, blah. Drive shaft's doing its thing. And then she turns the nitrous on and then just... What is that? It looks like the back of one of those Chevrolet Beretta jackets. This is the heartbeat of America. So this is, see, whenever you see these squiggly lines here, you know, so that's trans brake. But then all of a sudden, but then we got them again here.
That's rev limiter.
Yeah, that's when this sucker let the tire go. But man, you know what we don't have on this pass? The one success of this pass that we do not have. So the first pass, blah, 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 and just over and dead and pissed off. Second pass, over, dead and pissed off. And this one, just straight up, zing. I mean, look, there's where the converter grabbed it. So it made it to that point in the run before it spun the tires. So it made it 0.35 into the run.
Nice.
Oh no, it was already spinning by there. No, it was lit.
For sure.
It was bussing. That's what the kids are saying. Drive shaft was 569 and a quarter. So it was not spinning yet. At a quarter of a second, it was not spinning yet. But then right after a quarter of a second, it started spinning. So drive shaft speed at a half. Now that's impressive. 43.85 at a half a second. 4,385
on the drive shaft, not RPM.
No, engine RPM was 8205 at a half a second into the run. Man, shit happens quick, doesn't it? Man, what happened, guys? Here's another thing. So the orange one, yeah, the good old orange one. That's throttle position sensor right there. So this is what Jackie's foot was doing in the car. So she's on the floor, trans brake release, and then, oh my God, it's spinning. She lets off.
Not completely.
Not completely. Goes all the way down to there. Snatches a little bit. It didn't take it. Then she snatches a little more. She's just in there trying to make it hook, and then almost to the floor, and then knocks the tire off again. So she's all the way back down to zero. Then, but just as quick as she went to zero, she was back to 80. And then it's going to take it. So she goes all the way up, turns the micro switch on. Well, turns the nitrous on with the throttle position center here, and then nope, right back off of it. See this line here? Mm-hmm. That line there is where the nitrous turns on. So every time your foot goes over that line, nitrous comes on, over, and then back off. Oh, back on, back off. A couple little woots there. Then a woot, and then off, and then fuck it. It's over. Judging by this damn thing, I'd say you were.
That's a lot of data, sir.
I mean, there's so much to do. There's so much to go through.
How do
here.
you have data with cars?
Yeah, we shouldn't. Now I know why guys don't. Yeah, 640, 650 feet there. So yeah, you're pretty good. You were on.
That's 670.
Yeah, there's 670. So you were coming off the gas. Yeah, so you were off the gas by 680, 118 mile an hour, and that's what you went. So yeah, there you go. There you have it. So these lines down here, the purple, that's the nitrous. So you can see the percentage of nitrous went up to 30% here, and it was fine. And then, but what's weird is it flatlined at 30%. And, I had it flat at 30% for a tenth or two to try and get it through that weird spot. But then, as soon as it goes over 30%, I mean, it's taking the tire right there. It's it's zipping the tire. G-meter is about to head back the other direction. So if I didn't know any better, I'd say it had 58 jets in it instead of 28 jets. Like, I don't know why it was so pissed off with that little shot of nitrous. But you can see, so she was on the nitrous here, and then she pedals it, gets back in it. It's taking it, and then she turns the nitrous back on with her foot. Boom, it starts the progression, and then it spins the tire. She caught it really fast there. As you can see, from here to here, it's actually driving. That's hooked up. And then she turns the nitrous on, RPM goes up a little bit, it's still hooked, but then it zips the tire. She comes off, gets back on it, and then she turns the nitrous on again here, and it's kind of spinning the tires, but it's kind of going, you know what I mean? It's kind of going, but it's kind of spinning, but it's kind of going. She wasn't really sure. And then,
don't say I wasn't sure.
Well, judging by the TPS, you weren't 100% sure, because you can see you were coming.
I was 92.4%
sure. You were 92% sure, not 100% sure. Not like this here. Then she turns the nitrous back off, and then back on. Now here, she was pretty sure of herself. She was 97% sure this deal was going.
I mean, that's almost 100.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it was 4.3 seconds in the run. The run was completely shot. But she was like. But she said, you know what? It's going to go. Like, now it's going to go. Now that we're 400 foot out, I think it'll go.
I mean, it did.
Yeah. No, it did for a second. And then,
half a second or whatever.
Yep. And then something happens here. I'm guessing the 2-3 shift. And then.
I mean, that's where the nitrous gets real high in the purple.
It did. Yeah. You took it all the way to 90%. So you were so sure. You had 90% of nitrous.
I mean, I was 98% sure to be 90% nitrous.
And then she lets off of it. And then for good measure, just to make sure that the guy she's racing doesn't blow by her, she jumps back on the nitrous at 5.3 seconds into the run. Run should be fucking over.
I mean, it was over at coasting. 80 foot.
Yeah, it really was before 80. Come on. This says wheel slip. And then wheel slip rate. Wheel slip there is 308% wheel slip. And your wheel slip rate is 12,835% per second. So it says it's predicting that it's not going to get any better. Because it went all the way up to 450, 470, 415% wheel slip. Yeah, 4.9 foot into the run.
So the back tires were definitely still in the beams.
Yeah. It literally says you were going 14 miles an hour, 5 foot out, but the tires were doing 80. Nice. Sometimes you got to race a motherfucker. I don't know. This is the point of the journey where I'd love to tell you that we're going to make a few changes and turn down some things and then make some switches and flips and do some keystrokes, and then we're going to... But that's not true. I can tell you right now, we've got a major problem, and I don't know what it is yet. It hit like a 1,500 shot of nitrous, and it shouldn't have. I know the converter's tight, but it ain't that fucking tight. I don't know if it's going to be chassis related or nitrous related or both. Could be both. Because that is just that's so soon. It's not even like it bounced up. You know what I mean? Like, that is just really quick in the run for it to have that much problems. If I look at this and the tune-up that we had in it, and I say, okay, we're going to go out there and make another one real quick. I don't know where I could turn the nitrous on. You know what I mean? Like, because she turned the nitrous back on at 2.2 seconds and it smoked the tires. And it was probably in fucking second or third gear by then because their RPMs were so high. So it's like, in order for this thing to hook, we'd have to just turn the nitrous off. And then what's the point in that? So we got to figure out where our issue lies. But I can tell you, even with all the pedaling and the acting ridiculous in there, the pan back looks good. Everything looks happy. EGTs are all happy. Everybody's doing their best, doing their damnedest. All in all, very progressive day, very successful. Great success, because you went all the way to the stripe under power 2 times in a row. You went 5s on motor.
Parachute works.
Parachute works. You're driving, by the way. Hey, got the little hand of one. Got the doing the,
One day I'll figure out where it is and stop.
It takes a little bit,
Yeah.
It takes a little bit to figure out where it is.
Yeah.
Eventually, it'll be just second nature. You just grab that sucker, and then you're ready to go. It looks a lot like the pass. The first second of the pass, looks a lot like it. I bet the TPS looks just like it. Oh, no. Holy crap.
That's it. Everyone wants to
You're
talk
at
crap, and I was
30.
like, I'm just in there 100% throttle and on the rev limiter. No.
You're at 34% throttle, and it's on the limiter 7,500.
I don't even go to 100 here in the beginning.
No, you don't. No,
It never went over 50.
No, you were at 50% throttle, and it was already gone. Back to 40. But look, nothing you did made any difference with the throttle.
Yeah, I tried to.
No matter what you did, the RPM did not come off the limiter. It might have right there, that 35, when you got under 30% throttle, which is nothing, it might have tried to come off the limiter there. Yeah. But then it's back on it. Man, look, you're at 0% throttle there, and it's still on the limiter. Well, I'll be danged. Dipped, whatever. Look at that oil pressure, though. It's good stuff.
150.
Yeah, it's got all the oil pressures.
For sure.
All right, well, yeah, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out why it hits why I did what's going on here. I got to decipher all this. Got to get out my decoder ring and figure it all out. So, and then we'll be back in the truck, hopefully soon. I'm gonna go sit in the truck while you load everything up. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Well,